Nowadays, people would rather talk about religion, politics, all these other things over money.
Try and always take the risk.
It's okay to not agree with someone.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, welcome back.
Welcome back to Chasing Me Podcast.
Yes, this week we are going to take a stroll down memory lane and talk about the things that we wish we knew when we were younger.
Wow, where to start? Sometimes I feel like there are so many things, but at least the first thing that came to my mind was that it's okay to say no.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, I think younger Alex in her 20s just said yes to everything, everybody, every opportunity, and it wasn't a bad thing, but like when you don't have the financial means to do so, not so great choices are being made. So being financially responsible and saying yes to everything do not go hand in hand in your younger 20s.
Yeah, but I think there's something about that no that is really important. Like, I actually find it easier, obviously, now to say no. I just do what I want. I do what I want to do more often.
Yeah.
But there are times where I feel like I want to say yes, but I know I'm also trying to be responsible for something else, or I've set this like goal for myself. And now a no usually comes in the form of giving it up for something else. Before, like when you're in college and you're younger, like you have nothing else you're doing. You're just going to school and maybe working a part-time job. And then, so what's wrong with saying yes to everything? Except for, a little bit about the financials. Yeah, like there is, I think it's not so much just no to activities, but it's no to the people you really don't want to hang out with. Or, now it's like you value your time so much more that you don't maybe say yes to the people who are like, I can go a couple more weeks without seeing them. Or, maybe they bring you down. Like maybe you've realized now as you get older, they're actually draining on your body versus, being a light or an inspiration or, something that brings you energy. So I think that is, no is definitely different now versus when we were younger.
What about you? What's the first thing that came to mind?
I mean, you know me, I'm always thinking about money. So mine was like financial knowledge, I think was I'm still learning. And I wish that someone had taught me, maybe even my parents, I wish they would have taught me more about money and how they like even operate like the farm that they have, like that business and how it operates. And over the years, I've kind of slowly found out more here and more there on how they structure the business, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, you don't learn about money unless you talk about it. And I know that is actually funny. I was listening to this, I think it was CBS or some show. It was on YouTube, but it was a podcaster. Anyways, someone on YouTube was talking about how nowadays people would rather talk about religion, politics, all these other things over money.
Really?
Yes.
Why?
Which I thought was so funny.
Yeah.
Just because it's such a sensitive topic. And they were talking about the credit card debt in America. It was what the conversation was.
Got it.
And they're saying that people who were polled were more likely wanting to talk about those other topics than their financial situation because it's embarrassing. They're like, it's embarrassing to be in debt, especially as an adult. Like, it's embarrassing to be in debt or not be where you want to be. Honestly, like, I'm so thankful for Nikki, my friend, who when it was 4 years ago now, 4 or 5 years ago now, I've been in Long Beach. I moved down. She was so comfortable talking about money, but she actually had a significant other prior they were together like a little bit while I first moved in, But he's the one that taught her all about money and got her started so early on. And it's like, no one knows until they're taught.
Yeah.
And like, or open to having those conversations. Like, she learned from him. I learned from her. Hopefully someone can learn from me. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not quite there yet, but I feel like even my small conversations can go a long ways. But I wish that, I think that's something I'll do with my kids, is really talk about money and its power to do things. Like, don't be obsessed about it, but no, like, don't be obsessed about it in a way that is negative and like your greed. Don't become greedy about it. But knowledge is power. Knowledge is king at the end of the day. And if you don't know what value money holds, or how it can help, how it can set you up for the future, or how it can really take your future away if you're not careful, is really important. And I think that was something I wish I knew a little bit earlier. Like, retirement funds nowadays are kind of going down the toilet, but in my personal opinion, but they say, like, if you would have put money away, like started saving in your 20s, like, that's 10 years ago. Think about all the interest you could have made over 10 years time. Like, you can't get that back. We are now closer to retirement than we want to be, you know? And yeah, so understanding financial situations, I think for me would have been one.
Yeah, I think you can't go wrong with just gaining more knowledge and feeling more, having like a better understanding of a lot of the things that we have now would have been nice, looking back, because like anything in life, most people tell you when you're out of college or maybe in college that you need experience in order to get to where you want to be. And I want to say that is not true, because I remember my younger self being like, I know I can do it. I know I can do it. Just give me the chance. And I'm not saying that it can't be done, but experience teaches you a lot. And that's one thing that I wish that I took maybe even more risks in my like high school years, so that my 20s I could have had gained certain experiences, and then by your 20s you take even more risks, so that by your 30s you have all of that experience underneath your belt. And I think that if I've learned anything is to try and always take the riskier option, because when you are young you are more agile, you are able to bounce back more, whether that's physically, mentally, financially. You just have more opportunities. And as you get older, I think that, one, our minds just aren't as quick. We can't keep up always with the times and the days and the technology and all of the things that happens. So do it now, and do your best to like take a risk that of course isn't going to make you homeless or anything like that, but in a way that is going to push your boundaries of comfortability, whether that's personally or career-wise, or with other people in your life. Just take more risks. That's what I wish I would have done.
Yeah, that one is definitely true, because you don't have the responsibilities as you do now. You know, like I moved into my new place, and it's like I can't go out and risk. The only way I was able to afford the business that I had for 3 years is because of where I lived.
Yeah.
I lived in a house with a couple other girls, and that's the only way I was able to fund my business, is because I had a lifestyle choice that was living with roommates to fund that. And it's like, now it'd be a lot tighter if I tried to do the same thing. It just wouldn't really be possible. So yeah, I took that risk, and yeah, I lost, now thinking about it, a substantial amount of money that could have, been tucked away somewhere, or, but I really enjoyed that experience, and I don't regret it at all. That's for sure. But risk taking is definitely a big one. For me, it's something else that kind of comes to mind, and you honestly mentioned it. It was, kind of goes along with saying no, but it's this idea of being okay with being in disagreement with people, I think is better. Like, it's okay to not agree with someone. And I tend to be kind of passive in my opinions sometimes. And unless someone asks me, I usually don't present my opinion to anybody. Happy to share it. and happy for it to be disagreed with, but it's the idea that your opinion's different than, say, your friends or your families, and like that is okay, and you don't always have to be aligned with every single person that you are friends with. I don't know if that makes sense.
It does, because I think that I'm one of the same like what you said, right? Where I would always just kind of compromise to other people's opinions and the things that they wanted or the things that they've presented. And it was so much easier for me to feel, or I felt like it was easier for us in that moment to just move past maybe my disagreements or anything like that, and to be more like accommodating and this very like nurturing type of personality that would just be like, oh, of course, like, yes, I'll do that, or no, like, of course, like I feel the same way that you do, or
even if you didn't.
I don't even know if I knew it was, I didn't. Like, I don't feel like I really developed my sense of self because I was always wrapped up in being a part of everyone else's life and wanting to accommodate them and appease them. So in part of that, you lose parts of who you are and who you're trying to become if you don't focus on yourself. And that goes in hand in hand with the saying no, right? Like having opportunities to be alone and to really curate your own life is important, especially at a young age, because like as much as outside influence is great and they will teach you things, like I think you need to develop your sense of self within that.
And I think that goes into what some people, we talked about it during the financial episode, where it's like people get into this, and I think it's because they don't know their sense of self. They get caught up in the keeping up with the Joneses type mentality of always trying to match other people. And it's like, that's okay. Or like the fear of judgment that you don't have a house yet, or you don't have these things that your friends do. And like, that is okay. So like, if you are at a different point in your life, that is also okay. And you don't have to constantly just be trying to keep up with your friends and an appearance that's not you, that's not authentic to you. I think that's something else too, is this idea of not being true to yourself just because you're afraid of people's opinions.
Or people leaving. That was always my issue, is I was really held people so close because of like I felt like they were my family, and any sort of disappointment made me feel like, okay, well then no, we can't even be friends. But it was very black or white, and now what I've realized is that there is a gradient to friendships, and it isn't an end all be all, and you need to be able to be comfortable alone, as I mentioned last week. And within doing that, you realize that like people will still be there, but you might have to ask for what you need more often than not. And I don't think I ever asked for what I needed in my younger 20s. So
yeah, you definitely were more accommodating. You just kind of gave in, which is.
And Erica's known me since I was 20.
I do know that, Alex, and she definitely her viewpoint on friends has definitely shifted.
Yeah.
Another one that kind of crossed my mind was adults being right.
Oh, okay.
So like, as much as when you're younger, you hate or you love to think you know everything, and some adult or old grandpa gives you some like nice, great advice, you immediately kind of like, oh yeah, like I know. I did that to my parents all the time. I'm like, yeah, I know. Before they were even done saying it, I was like, yeah, I know. That was my classic Erica term.
I think I still do that, but yes.
I think I still do that to my parents too. But I'm going to be honest, the amount of times that I've realized that they were right or they had valuable information that they were trying to share, it's usually pretty accurate. Because like they have experience. You talked about that. The experience that you gain from living life does wonders for being able to give that back to a different generation. So I don't, like most parents don't want you to make the same mistakes they did. Like they don't. Yes, we as kids, sometimes you need to take your own risks and you need to do it for yourself to find out. Like sometimes you just have to. But there's many things that I feel like my parents tried to instill in me when I was younger that I'm like, oh, that's what they were talking about.
Yeah.
And it kind of comes all full circle. And you're like, yeah, they were kind of right. They were kind of right.
I would say that my dad has instilled a lot of the, like, you know, when you think about keeping like your bed clean, doing the same routine, being very on point with all of that, like tidy environment is a tidy mind, is a tidy life, and it's very like by the rules. And it's very hard to even still for me to keep up with it, but I see the value in it now more than ever, because it is important. It really is. It's just because it's coming from somebody who has spent the majority of your life with you that you're like, I don't want to listen to you right now.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There's always stuff. There's always things. That's funny. Wait, what was it? Tidy mind? Tidy what?
Well, he didn't say that, but that's what I think of. It's like, because he would always have a routine for his routine, like, and certain things that he does, which I think a lot of people do, but it's very like, in my mind, military type of mentality, where you keep backstock of everything that is most important and essential in your home, so that like you don't ever run out. And then, you always wake up, make your bed, take the vitamins, do the same routine in the morning to keep yourself on point and on track. And then, I don't know, it comes with the restriction. I grew up with a lot of like every Sunday every Sunday he would ask for help. I didn't like it, more or less. I think I tried to revolt even in my 20s with that mentality.
We've revolted against all of our parents. Like every child does. Even today, I'm like, no, I don't want to do that.
But now I see the value. Have I ever admitted that?
She just did.
I just did.
So, if you ever argued with your parents and disagreed with them, hit the subscribe button, because guess what?
That's all of you.
We know that's all of you, so everybody must subscribe, because we all disagreed with our parents through our entire life and still to today. But no, for me, those were my like big things. It was definitely saying no. It was knowing more about money, learning more about money, or being taught more about money. Mm-hmm. It was not being afraid to get in arguments.
Taking more risks.
And the fact that your parents might have just been right. Might have.
Always, but yes. I think that's everything I really wish I knew. Actually, I wish I knew, there's one other thing. I wish I knew that, like, getting your own place was more achievable. To live on my own at a younger age. Like, I put so much like, I can't do it every year. And then I could have. It goes back to the financial aspect of it and being more responsible. But yeah, it wasn't.
But you were being responsible because you kept living with other people to save money. So because you knew you wanted to go out and spend it.
Yes,
instead of it going to like a 1-bedroom apartment, you live with friends, and then 1, you got a bunch of friends with you, and then 2, you get to spend all their savings going out.
But I wanted it to, and the rent was so much cheaper back then. I don't know. I think about it, and I'm like,
so cheap.
Yeah, but either way, it was just an opportunity that could have happened sooner. Now, if it did happen sooner, would I have had the same experiences? No, and I would never take them back. But it is something that I wish I knew. Yeah, at least.
Another thing that came to my mind was committing to one thing. So growing up in Kansas, you did every sport. You did every after-school activity because there was only like 10 of you in the high school. You had to do it all. I had 28 people in my graduating class. That's, for scale. And, then half of those are women. So 14 girls. And you had to do everything. To make a basketball team, you all had to play, And I think, which was fine, but what I realize now growing up is that I have become this kind of like jack of all trades, and I'm really good at a lot of things, which gives me the confidence to know that I could probably pick up anything and be semi-good at it. Yeah. I'm not afraid to say that, and I'll give anything a try. But it has taught me to constantly be seeking something new and different versus committing myself to one thing and getting really, really good at it. I get bored very easily because it's not like a new challenge. It's the same thing. I'm getting used to it instead of doubling down because there's always more layers you can go.
Yeah.
But I've gotten good at it so that I stop versus like you start really getting in deep and then you become great at something or like known for that. I think that is something I wish I would have done earlier on, which is like really develop a skill. Like really develop a skill in a way that people are like, oh, Erica does that. Go talk to her. She's like, if it was financials or if it was Photoshop or Illustrator, some design, or if it was, I don't know, dancing, volleyball, like it could be anything that I've done in my past. But like, I wish there was something that would have.
You want an identifier.
Yeah, I like being known for something. I mean, besides just a good person, you know. Shucks.
You are, but yes,
know.
I understand what you mean.
Yeah, I think that was my only other thing that I could kind of come up with.
Okay.
But
well, I think that, I don't know, if there's anything that you guys wish that you knew when you were younger, whether you're in your 40s now, whether you're in your 20s, you know, and something that you wish you knew in high school, we would love to hear from you. And I would love to know what I should know. If you are older than us, please let me know what I should know.
Yeah, keep educating us because, like I said, I like to learn.
Yes.
Learning is my favorite thing. So, yeah.
Well, we appreciate you tuning in.
Yes.
And we hope that you do subscribe and like this video as we want to continue to upload videos for you. And I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.